Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. I'm so happy I have finally figured out recording with the top-down camera so y'all can see my work. And then also how to get the voiceovering to work. In the last video I did like this, which was a total experiment, but I listened back to the video myself and the audio sounded good. Um, it was a little difficult in figuring out how to get my headset to record, and I let everybody know that I don't have a laptop that was designed to do what I'm doing with it. I have a Windows Surface, which has worked fine for me, but I am on the hunt for a newer laptop. I've had this one for like 4 years now, so it's time to replace it anyway. But I'm sure my videos will get better and better as I have better equipment with which to record and produce videos. But this is going to be just another top-down painting. So just to explain my little setup here, I'm going to move my mouse around. We've got over here the pieces that I'm working on. This is from when I was working on my Warhound Titan. It is complete, long before this video is going to come out. Can't do everything in real time because she works. She has a life. So I do a lot of pre-recording. That way the channel is uploading even when I'm busy. So when I have like downtimes and lulls in my schedule, I just record until I can't stand it so that the channel always has videos coming up. But you're seeing me do the finer details on, I believe these are part of the legs. These are two of his guns and of course his head. Just my little painting setup here. What you're seeing is I always put down a fresh piece of paper towel. Especially when I'm working with my fine tipped brushes here. The reason I do that is because I always make sure to clean and use brush saver soap either between colors or if my brush starts to get clumpy to make sure my brushes stay nice. These are my Artify brushes I'm using, and they help me get really fine details. I'm just that kind of painter. I'm learning airbrush skills, won't go into that whole speech again, but I'm working on learning new techniques. But at the time of painting this, I wasn't trying anything new. I was just going with what I knew to get this Titan ready. Over here, these pieces have been primed and they are waiting to be painted. And the pieces that are done at time of filming, this little, so you can't really see them because my head's in front of it, but I'll move. Let me move me over and see if you can see. Yeah, all those pieces, they're waiting to be painted. And then down here in this basket, those are pieces that are done. So I'm pretty organized when I paint. Um, everyone's different. Whatever works for you, do that. That's my advice. Whatever works for you, do that thing. But I think this time with this video, I'm gonna try just a little bit different. So, just so you know, I'm just doing just fiddly detail work here. I had a couple of comments, not overwhelming, just small amount. I know a lot of people when like to be hyperbolic when it comes to talking about what was in their comments. I'm talking about like two or three comments where people were suspicious as to whether or not I was actually doing this work. I am. These are all things that I've painted, all my own schemes, and all my own builds. I build all my stuff too. My husband has offered to do the building for me, but I love having a holistic experience. The building's my least favorite part. I love the painting. I hate the building. And he's the opposite. He loves building, but he's an engineer, so we complement each other that way. But yes, they are my hands that are doing the work of creating the painted crafts you see. Now, I didn't build like everything. Like here on my desk, I've got like little figures I painted from other stuff. You know, um, this was a 3D print at a paint party, but yeah, this is all me. You know, um, there are girls who do the hobby genuinely, but not just girls, just people in general. It's amazing the friends that I've met and made through the tabletop gaming hobby. Um, I've said it so many times. I got into the Warhammer for the lore. I love to read. I was a theater and English major. My degree is in the science of communication. I'm about to start my master's degree in January because I just need one more thing to do. Um, Instructional design and technology. But I love a story, and the Black Library they've produced some really good stories, and I've always enjoyed it. And that's what I'm going to do today is I'm going to read from the book that got me started. As you watch me work, watch me nene, Eisenhorn. Which funny? Have you heard the story about how I got this book? So I was married once before. I got married at 18. Don't do that. And you will never hear me say a bad word about him. Never, ever. If you ever stumble across my channel, just know, sir, I have never said a bad word about you to anyone. Um, because we were 18. Who we were at 18 and who we turned into a few years later, they were different people, and we were not people who were meant for each other. That's all there is to it. But he's the one and his friends who first introduced me to Warhammer. I had no idea what it was. They're the ones who introduced me to Magic the Gathering. That really didn't make sense back in the day. But I tried. I tried to get into the game. That they would sit around and have paint parties and build scenery, and I would read the books because the painting just didn't interest me. I didn't understand the wargaming, like, it just didn't make sense. Words person, not a math person. But as I've gotten older and more into the hobby, I'm like, man, this other portion is cool because I do love creating things. It's such an awesome creative outlet. I could never paint a painting. I'll never get a canvas and produce a great work, but this kind of painting I can actually do decently well, and I enjoy the results. I enjoy playing a tabletop game with an army that I created. That I think that's the allure of the Warhammers, the Star Wars games, Lotro, Lord of the Rings, all of those things, Drop Zone, Dead Zone. It's because you create and you're more invested into it, especially if the game you're playing has its own universe and lore built around it, and you built into it. No two armies look alike because of it. Everyone just develops their own way of making their models look the way they want. And it's so cool if you go to things like Adepticon, which is a big tabletop gaming convention. It's in Milwaukee in 2025, I believe. My husband and I are considering going. Um, it's over a long weekend, basically. We have not decided. We might, we may. There's some other things we got to see if that travel is going to happen before we decide. But when you go to a tournament, local or GW sponsored, whatever it is so cool to see the work that people have done and understand how they got to their end results because we all have different visions of what we want our pieces to look like. So I thoroughly enjoy the process of painting. I enjoy finding new paint. I've recently discovered Muso Black. Well, not recently discovered, but purchased it, and I have plans for it and some gradient changing metallics. Like I'm going ham on my dreadnoughts in real time. I'm going ham on my dreadnoughts. I can't wait to show you those. I do like to show steps along the way, but those are not long form videos. The top down filming, those will be the longer form where you can see progress. But now that I know how to get these voiceovers to work, I can make more of them because I recorded a whole bunch of footage and I couldn't get the voiceovering to work. So one step at a time. Yeah, I got content for years in my life. Content for years. But let's not delay. Let's read. We're gonna read from the Eisenhorn today while you watch me paint and watch me nene. So we are reading from Eisenhorn by Dan Abnett. Oh, I didn't tell you about the book. Yeah, so my ex-husband being the one. Uh-oh, did I not mute the sound on this? I sure didn't. Hold up, real-time foibles. This is how it works. Real-time foibles. Pew. Um, but yeah, he got me into the lore by letting me read this. And then when we divorced, when I was like 23, he was 23, we were both 23. This went with me. This book, they don't publish the printed book anymore, which is a shame because it is it's so lovely to hold. I love an actual book. I'm not really into e-reading. Everyone's different. My husband's an e-reader. I am not. I need books. We're taking a quiet trip for Christmas. We were going to go do like a big trip, like go somewhere. Like we were thinking about Tokyo, we were thinking about Greece, and it's been such a busy, hectic year, and there's been a lot happening that we're just going to take like a quiet mountain trip, no electronics. So you won't hear from me the week of Christmas. I'm going to just spend time with my husband. We're going to read, have a little cabin in the woods, just enjoy one another's company and nothing else. We're going to bring our tabletop games and Risk and all that kind of stuff we love and just be with each other. Highly recommend. You don't even have to go anywhere to do that. We just are opting to. That way no one can bother us. So, um, but yeah, just I'm very happy to have this book. While I'm here, when was this published? I don't even know. Um, Xenos Hereticus Malleus. Da, 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 da. When did this come out? Interesting things. Where's the publishing page? Mm-hmm. These are the things that interest me because I'm a dork. Oh, wow. So Xenos Malleus was copyright in 2001. Hereticus was 2002. Oh, Xenos and Malleus were 2001, then Hereticus came in 2002. The last little bonus novel in here was also 2002. It looks like, wow, that's crazy. So this is a 20-year-old book. Can you tell? And I've read it more than once. I From the first page it had me. And then I got into the Horus Heresy, and that's all she wrote. I love Warhammer lore. Not only that, but being an English major, I'm a little bit of a word snob. I'm sorry, I am. Like, one of my talents when I was young, she's an old hack now, but back in the day, I was a prodigy, was Shakespeare. I can read Shakespeare down to the ground. It's a weird talent to have, and I performed a lot with it. But I love the way this is written. It came from England, so of course it appeals. It's that version of English that's not even British English. It's more like Latiny Gaelic English, and I love the cadence of beautiful language, and they write these novels this way. And Dan Abnett is, we all know he's the goat. He is the premier in the Warhammer world. But there's a lot of other authors like Graham McNeil. He's a really good one. Um, I love a book read by Gob Thorpe. He's a good reader. He's got that deep voice. Yeah. Anywho, I'm digressing. So let's get back. Let's now that I gave you all that story that I almost forgot to give you. Uh, shall we? Yeah. Oh, I'm not on my camera. I'm on like the computer camera today, so it's different. So, and this is 40,000. So this is not 30K. This is not in the heresy. This is post heresy. 10,000 years after Horus has did what he did. All right. So, reading from Eisenhorn by Dan Abnett. Prologue. In the 40. See, this is the thing about doing one take. I can't mess up. So let me get it together. Let me get it together. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and the master of a million worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark ages of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day, so that he may never truly die. Yet, even in his deathless state, the Emperor continues his eternal vigilance. Mighty battle fleets cross the demon-infested miasma of the warp, the only route between the distant stars, their way lit by the Astronomicon, the psychic manifestation of the Emperor's will. Vast armies give battle in his name on uncounted worlds. Great among his soldiers are the Adeptus Astartes and the Space Marines. Bioengineered super warriors. Their comrades in arms are Legion, the Imperial Guard, and the countless planetary defense forces, the ever vigilant Inquisition, and the tech priest of the Adeptus Mechanicus, to only name a few. But for all of their multitudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever present threat from aliens, heretics, mutants, and worse. And to be a man in such times is to be one amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim dark of the future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods. Gets me every time. Gets me. I love how with the evolution from 30K to 40K, they keep adapting that opening prologue to what's happening and new perception. Yeah, remember when I told y'all in that last painting video that I did not airbrush these? Here's your proof. She did this mess by hand because she lost her mind. Yeah, yeah. Watch it and weep. It's kind of cool to go back and watch the process. Um, all right, friends, we are picking up. I believe, which book are we in? Let me make sure I tell y'all we're in the right book. Don't you love a stream of consciousness video? I know you do. We are still in the first book. We are in, yep, Book Xenos, the first book of the Eisenhorn Omnibus. Chapter 26. I love this. This is when he gets introduced. Oh, okay, let me just read. Cherubal, the brink, exterminatus. We love that word exterminatus on this channel. Let's do it. The blank-eyed man, though in truth he was not a man, but a demon in human form, strode up the shining curve towards me. The glowing octahedron of the Saurithi's unholy text was clasped in one nimble hand. I would like the primer now, please, Grigor. What are you? This is no place for introductions. He gestured about himself. Lances of annihilation blasted down into the mud flats nearby. Humor me, I managed. Very well. My name is Cherubel. Now, that primer. Time is ticking away. Time will always tick away, I said. Who made you? Made me? The blank-eyed man smiled with duplicity. You are a demon host, a conjured thing. Tell me who made you and who commanded you at Molitor to come after this prize, and I might give you the primer. He laughed and licked his lips with a glossy, forked tongue. Let us both be abundantly clear about this, Grigor. You will give me the primer. Either you will hand me the primer now, or I will come to you and take it, and break every bone in your body, and can't say that word, that little girl at your side, and break every bone in her body too. And then drag your jiggling carcasses down into the chamber below and string you both up on hooks and burn out your agony centers as I wait for the bombardment to flatten this place. He paused. Your choice. You've been in my dreams for a long while now. Why is that? I pressed. You are gifted, Grigor. And time is not the arrow that humans like to think it is. A second in the warp would show you that. Why, a second in the four-dimensional habitats of the Saruthai would have proved it too. Your dreams were just nightmares of something yet to happen. Who made you? My voice was insistent. His answer was the one I least expected, and it left me all but stunned. The Holy Inquisition made me, Grigor. A brother of yours made me. Now, for the last time, give me that. The daemon host swung around suddenly as voices called out from lower on the roof. Brother Captain Sinwoof was clambering up out of the blast hole, flanked by Midas and other Death Watchers, carrying the limp form of Titus Endor. Sinwolf raised his stormbolter and fired at the blank-eyed man. Cherubel reached out and caught the glowing shells, plucking them out of the air. Go home, Astartes bastard, he yelled down the sloping roof at Sinwolf. This has nothing to do with you. The fiend came up the ridge until he was facing me. I could not see the tiny arcs of power darting across his glowing skin. I could smell the stink of corruption. Eye to eye now. He held out his hand, palm up, fingernails long and polished like claws. Clever of you to find an untouchable to cancel me out. He looked over at Baquin. How did you manage that? Fate, like time, is not linear, Cherubel. Surely you know that. I found Baquin in the same way that the dreams of you found me. He nodded. I like you, Grigor Eisenhorn. So very challenging and stimulating. For a human, I wish we had leisure to discourse and break bread. But we haven't, he snapped suddenly. Give me the primer. I took out the polyhedron. His smile broadened. I dropped the artifact onto the silky roof, and before it could slide away, crushed it under the heel of my boot. The demon host took a step backwards, gazing down at the crunched dust. He looked up at me again with his blank eyes. You are a man of singular dedication, Grigor. I would have enjoyed killing you when the day and hour came, but you're dead already. This edifice is 240 seconds away from destructions. Cherish this. He tossed me the Xenos Necro Touch, and I caught it in one gloved hand. You've won. Take that consolation to the afterlife. He started to run towards the lip of the roof and then threw himself out on in a perfect dive, arms raised. For a moment, he hung in space. Then he forked his body and executed a precise roll and disappeared into the lake of fire below. I pulled Baquin to me as Steinwolf, Midas, and the other Death Watch Marine approached. Indor, crumpled in the Astartes' arms, looked dead. I prayed he was, for in a moment this place would dissolve in fire. Rosethorn from Aegis above, well above for Emperor's sake. Damn this Glossia crap, move! My gun cutter swung over in the edifice roof. Ramp jaws were open. I could see Fishig at the helm through the cockpit screens, yelling at me. Amos was at his side. I watched 56 Izar die from the bridge of the St. Sithus as we left orbit. Petals of flame, the size of continents spread out under the milky skin. Sanction extremis, exterminatus. After the deluge of fire, the virus bombs. The seething storms of tailored plagues, the nuclear atrocity. It was a cinder by the time we left. No contact with the Saruthi race was ever made again, and the tainted glowing light of the Necrochurch was extinguished forever. So, well, I know, right? That was 3 whole pages of this book. Well, no, it's really 2 because page 1, 2, and then it's only half of the next page. But I guess if it was a smaller book, it would be like 4 pages, 5 pages. Yeah. I love the way this novel's written. I instantly fell in love with Dan Abnett's writing style. I can tell that once I get a better processing PC that this kind of video will work better. I don't just want to put music over it. I think it needs something. So I'm going to mess with some more settings and see if like I can get my resolution of maybe me being recorded so that like, so I'm going to play again. It will slow down after a bit doing both. But it doesn't do that when I play The Sims, but The Sims is as low def as it gets. I wonder if I make me smaller. Let's make me smaller. You mind experimenting with me for a moment? Make me littler. Will that help? It helped a little. but now there's lag in the voice. But yeah, as you can see, you see this dumbness? Now look, I'm gonna pause here. You see the you see this? You see all these? By hand. None of this was airbrushed. What's wrong with me? But I got the result that I wanted, and that's what matters. Um, I have a pretty steady hand, and that helps. I know some people they purchase their armies because of either age or injury or even something genetic, they don't have the physical dexterity to paint. So I am glad there are ways for people to get armies without having to do it themselves if they want to play the game. Like we've had a couple of folks who have different shakes for different reasons, and we move their figures for them so that they don't knock them on the floor because you somebody always breaks something in a tournament. I'm gonna just let you know you're gonna break something when you go to a tournament. You just bring glue with you. What can I tell you? Um, but yeah, I love this novel. I love revisiting it. Look at him. That's all kinds of seriousness. I'm all into it. Um, but yeah, painting this way is really cathartic, and I find painting and reading go well together. So just a little bit about me. Typically, when I'm painting, or building, I've got something in my ears. Either it's an audiobook, I might have my iPad up in front of me watching a horror movie. She loves her found footage. What can I say? And it's October when I'm filming this. I'm really into my horror movies right now. There's a couple of new ones out that I want to see. That tonight I'm going to do some building, um, and hopefully I'll get to priming tonight on my dreadnoughts. So I might put up that horror movie that I want to watch on the iPad. But yeah, that can help. Ooh, I'm really lagging now. Oh, pause. Pause. Ooh, can we say laggity lag lag lag? Let me fix this. There we go. Okay, so I'm not going to play anymore because obviously the lag is too much. She's going to have to restart before she does anything else. But yeah, this gives you a good idea of my process when it comes to painting. Let's see if there's anything else interesting that happens. Yeah, I picked up the other leg and then just, yeah. Could I have airbrushed this? Absolutely, I could have airbrushed it. And with my dreadnoughts, I'm going to attempt to do better and not have to torture myself like this. Brush down. So yeah, I got these based on that. This one. We all have our process. I will not take from you your process and tell you that your process is wrong. Um, we just all have a way of doing things. But yeah, just working with different styles here. This is a different way of doing videos for me. But yes, there is the proof. It is my hands. It is me. I am the one who is painting these figures. So I have. It's so funny. Like locally, I've decided to crown myself the wife ambassador of tabletop gaming. I'm trying to get more girls to play. Sometimes come close. Shh, come close. I'm just gonna take up more of the screen. I'm gonna come closer to you. Look at me, friends. If you want more people to play, whether it is Magic the Gathering, Lorcana, Fortnite, um, Warhammer, whatever the game is, make an environment where people want to show up and play. Yes, yes. you know, um, I don't ever want someone to stop being them. You be you, honey. You be the best you can be. But if the way one is behaving is not in best service of the environment or your profitability in relation to others, perhaps we make some edits in our behavior. Can you tell I'm corporate? But no, I do want to see more women come in and feel comfortable playing these games. But it takes time. It takes time. I was raised to like all this ridiculousness, so it's not that big a deal to me. And we have a good crew. The crew you choose to game with and do this kind of stuff with, it makes a huge difference to the experience. So get out there and find good people, or be the good people, and you will attract awesome folks with you to paint with, game with. Talk about lore with all the things. I got other stuff to do today. I'm going to record one more video, I think, and then I'm going to go work on some dreadnoughts before I make dinner. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.